Good day, everyone. Hi, this is Alwi again. Today, we are going to discuss about guidance for management of electronic records or digital records. In order for us to manage electronic record or digital records, we have to understand the concept of life cycle management of records. In physical environment, we create the records. In electronic environment, we capture and store record on top of when we create it. Why there is the word capture instead of creating? Because there are records which we create and we consider that thing born digital. I'm referring to electronic records, which is born digital. In this manner, it is creating electronic record. However, when we create these electronic records, we have to capture the process of creation in such a way that we capture who is the owner, when is the record is created, what is the title of the record, what is the reference number, what is the content, what is the format and platform by which record is created. This process is called capturing. On top of that, when we capture the record directly and immediately, we are concerned with how are we going to store the record that we capture into a readable format, into an accessible format, into a secured format in our handling. And in this case, we have to be able to identify the electronic records by assigning unique identifying information as well as providing security and also support authentication clearance, who is able to access that record, who cannot access the record. Not all record can be accessible by everyone in the office. There are open record, there are confidential, there are secret, there are top secret. So we have to look record in this manner. And we have to consider also which one is the draft, which one is the final draft, and in this manner it is called version control. After some time, the life cycle of record in electronic environment is concerned with the appraisal of the records. In physical environment, we do appraisal later in the process of managing physical record. But in electronic environment, we apply appraisal criteria as well as authorization the moment the record is created, captured, and stored. Why is it so? Because this process of appraisal is supposed to be automated, and we already know that this particular kind of records, I'm referring to digital record and electronic record. This particular record is supposed to be permanently kept in archive, for example, after some times. Or this particular of record is going to be disposed of after short period of time, for example. That is appraisal. Next is we are concerned with the control and use by which how are we going to facilitate internal and external record in terms of communication, in terms of search and retrieval. How do we get to the records which is being kept in our holding? When I refer holding over here, it is either being kept in the server, in the cloud services, in the database, in our PC, for example. And there is a strong need for tracking mechanism to each and every individual records. You can see the massive amount of work that need to be done when dealing with the electronic records. And we must also concern with regard to control and use, concern about migration, conversion, and portability of digital record or electronic record in this case. So, as you can see, towards the final stage, there is a process of disposition of electronic record, how it can be done in the digital environment. In physical environment, after appraisal, we decide later on when we assign the value of the records, we can do that up each and every single process manually. But in electronic environment, it is no time to do that in a very manual manner. There must be an automated process by which we could be able to identify which record need to be disposed of, which record need to be preserved of for permanent preservation for the purpose of posterity and longevity. So this can be done by retention schedule, which is also supposed to be automated, as well as whatever that we keep, whatever that we dispose of, the archival information must be available. As you can see this process as a whole, if you relate it to whatever that you have learned previously in other in the management of the physical record, you can see that in electronic environment the approach is a bit different because we don't do it manually. The disposition process is to be assigned by or to be done by the system. That is why in electronic environment we need a unique software or unique system by which the system is able to do this process automatically without our interference. That is about managing electronic record based on the life cycle concept. So when we manage the creation and use, coming back to the first one, when we manage the creation and use of electronic record, we have to look into the possibility of maintaining the electronic records format in a formal office-wide system by which we can create, file it, name it, the records, and make sure that it is accessible again in some other times. And then, in this manner, when we want to save it or we want to name it, we have to consider structure of the filing system so that the record is not mistakenly saved into other folder. When it is wrongly saved into different folder, there is a consuming effort to track and to access that particular record when later on we need it back. So in this manner, the purpose is to make it available, understandable, and usable for later period of time. So that is why in electronic environment, the system is able to manage the electronic records or digital record in such a way that the control of directories, subdirectories, and file is done by the system. Next is naming convention. How do we give name to the file in electronic environment within the computer system? The naming convention must be standardized, cannot be freely assigned to each and every individual record. So giving the names in Microsoft environment, in this case Microsoft Office for example, we can give a lot of name to each and every single document, okay, or record. But in electronic environment, the process of saving the file, giving it the names, must be done according to a specific convention of naming, which is understandable to everybody in the office, so that it is easier for us to locate, to save the file into the folder, and to access it later on, and to register the file so that whenever we do search query, it is easily detectable. So when we want to use naming convention, we have to use standard abbreviation. And this abbreviation is available in organization, different organization may have different abbreviation. So we have to look into this particular aspect when we want to manage electronic record. That is basically you are going to go through with regard to the guidance on the management of electronic records. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Hope you enjoy the session.